Well, I think yeah, because when I was working at the Palm, one of the things that I always brought to my work was I was part of the team. So there was nothing above. And that was A, just I think my nature. B, it was also instilled and expected from my parents that, okay. And when I went into the restaurant business, which I didn't know was going to be such a big chapter in my life, I thought, okay, this is just a means I needed to make money. I needed to, like, my parents expected that. And I earned the respect of the employees that I was working with, the waiters, the busboys, the dishwashers, because I did everyone's job with them. I was never the spoiled kid that came in and said, you work for my dad, screw you, I'm here, I'm not there. And I think it just was expected. And we were in the service business. I know what service is, which is, I think, bleeds into what is happening in my life now in regard to Lunch with Bruce and the ability to do this. I understand service. I respect the service business. And so, I didn't bring attitude.
No, you didn't. Do you miss the Palm? Like, I know you've moved on from it as of last year, I think it was. Like, do you miss it?
Well, it was a complicated, very bad ending of a 94-year family business. So I'm proud of I'm proud of it in so many levels. And I had to mourn it because it was certainly the great patriarch in our family and the co-founder's family. I don't miss it, to be more, very clear about it. I don't miss it. I'm happy it's not in my life anymore. It's not what it was. So I don't miss what happened to it and where it landed, because it's just, the Palm just doesn't exist. It can never be what it was because the families aren't involved. The culture's not there. I don't miss it because I always wondered, how was this chapter going to end? It ended poorly. It ended with typical sort of, I think, greed and mismanagement, and all of us who worked and gave so much of our heart in it, all the people that I worked with and I respected, yet again, the servers, there was a big loss. But it also, in COVID, happened, so that gave me time to reflect. And I feel free. I feel like, what, this is why I think other things are going on right now, because it was time for that to end. I wish it had ended different. It didn't, but it gave me so much and such a skill set that I will always be very grateful. And I love the tradition that my great grandfather and this other gentleman started this business. And for 94 years, it helped and gave people livelihoods and sent people's kids to school. And our customers celebrated anniversaries and weddings and bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs and divorces and deaths and everything, and business deals is fun.
And look, everything happens for a reason. It gives you more time for Lunch with Bruce, your wonderful podcast. Before we get into that, one other moment in your life is a highlight for me. Like, I remember when you got the Champion Award for GLSEN, I think in 2017. There it is, see?
Right here.
And as a member of the LGBTQ plus community myself, like, I remember your speech, like, it was very heartfelt and being called certain things on the bus on the way to school. Your whole family was there. Was that, like, where does that rank? I mean, the award is right there. I imagine it's up, but, like, where does that rank on the list of accomplishments in your fascinating life?
Yeah, well, thank you. Big, it's huge, to be acknowledged by GLSEN, which I just am, obviously, like you, a big, supporter and believer. And really, when it comes to certainly young people and how difficult it is to be gay and be part of the LGBTQ plus community and everything that we've gone through. And I had it good comparatively, you know what I mean? I lived in a city that, it was the 80s, so it wasn't easy. And it was the late 70s, so there was no real room there was no imagery or narratives that I could relate to, with the exception of, like, Stephen Colby on, like, Dynasty, but, like, his dad beat him up, but he was so, things like that, or Making Love with Harry Hamlin, like, anything. I just was like, but GLSEN, it lands super high. The acknowledgement, the ability also, when I wrote that speech, when I sat down, to be able to, like, have that come out of me, because I didn't know where that was in me. I wasn't, and it was very cathartic, and it was meaningful to have my family there. It was meaningful to be, because it took me a long time to be comfortable saying I was gay, to be comfortable, just on so many levels. So it was huge to receive that honor. And also, I hope that I can continue to be set an example and help all young LGBTQ plus people and fight for our rights and fight for marriage equality, which we did. And in this like crazy time of divisiveness and conservative and this right and left and all this crazy, just to make sure we protect ourselves and our community. And we're in. Yeah.
We're in. I mean, do you think to that point, like we've come far, like you look at shows, like, I mean, her husband basically runs all of CAA, like we have Pose, like we've come, like, do you think we've come, I mean, we've come far, like, do you still see like a lot of closeted, like there's still a lot of closeted actors and actresses in Hollywood?
It's interesting. I think we've come certainly far. When you have content, you have someone like Max Munchnick who creates Will and Grace in the 90s. That was amazing to tell the stories, and we all related. I had the girl best friend who she was in love with me, and
Totally.
I had Jack. I wasn't Jack. But and the portrayal of gay people now is much more prevalent, and I think with Pose, I think Ryan Murphy has done such service to our community. And I think people like Greg Berlanti have done incredible things. I think there are a lot of gay actors out there now, and leading men gay actors. I mean, you look at someone like Matt Bomer, who is a friend of mine. Like there was a time he could not be in, first of all, he did not get cast as Superman when the studio found out he was gay. He really was going to get it. This is now years ago, and he didn't, because they didn't want to take the chance. That was then. This is now where he can portray a married man, and we believe him as a married man to a woman. You don't have to be. So I think we've gone super far. I think we have to keep telling the stories. I think we have to keep telling the disenfranchised stories. We have to portray gay people positively. I think in the movies and television, I think there's a responsibility there, not to make them the killers, not to make them like these crazy,
stereotypical.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, is there room to grow? Yes. Is there room to grow with all, groups now? Yes. I think there's a huge focus in on that. I do question the ability that you have to be gay to play gay, or you have to be, because do you have to be straight to play straight? I just feel like there's a little bit of a slippery slope going on there, because without great movies like Sean Penn portraying Harvey Milk, that would never have happened. Sometimes you need a movie star to make a movie about someone who's great and to tell their story, and hopefully. But we've come a long way. And I mean, I watch like now all these rom-coms that are meant for like teenagers about like the love story, like Love, Simon. I immediately went to like Greg Berlanti and was like, I've watched it 4 times because I was able to relive my adolescence, because I didn't have a boyfriend. I wanted a boyfriend,
Right.
I wanted to go to the prom. I wanted to fall in love on the Ferris wheel. What the hell?